How are we all doing? We all had an amazing day of sales today, have we?
$22.50.
Yeah, retirement's coming early.
Oh, yes.
Free post.
You've already sold
Yes, I
sold
did
it
Well, I've
see
had
early.
my
that.
disastrous VHS sale.
Yes, I saw that too. Oh, okay. Alrighty, Rob. Rob is caramelising onions right now.
I thought he might be. Mm-mm.
Oh, la-di-da.
Mm.
Caramelising it. Mm.
And I will need to send my warehousing team in Brisbane a shipping label. Okay, what are you
Warehouse.
shipping to yourself? Hello, Bronwyn.
Caramelised onion.
Caramelised onions, yeah, maybe.
Hey,
Oh,
Bronwyn.
he's cooking risotto.
Oh,
Oh, no,
woohoo.
Bronwyn's cooking risotto, is it? Yes, Bronwyn's cooking risotto. Nice, Bronwyn.
Hold it. Just hang on a sec. I've got to write this down. Who's doing what?
Well, I'm having roasted potatoes, so
Well done.
Very good. I'm going to have...
I made a
John.
beef mince stew, so Vince didn't eat.
I'm going to have some carbonara after. Hi, Jodie.
Hi, Jodie.
Hi everyone.
How's your day been?
Mate.
I'm good. I was just going through your video, Grumpy Granny, because I've got to do some variation listings. So I've done one already. So thank you so much.
Oh, very good, very good. There's two videos, so you can... there's an updated one, and then there's the first one, which is probably the better one to follow to first start doing it. But yeah, then there's
Yeah,
an
I think I was
updated
doing that one. Yeah.
Just don't miss
So,
a step.
your views
It'll
might
make
be up
it
now.
much quicker.
Yeah, make sure you
You'll
do
make
Am I
each
doing
step.
it wrong?
A few
talking
people
about food.
I know
What's
might
your
have missed
name?
a step. Doing it
What,
wrong.
me?
Welcome. What's your actual name? So I don't have to call you doing it wrong.
Lance.
Or just make up a name that you want us to call you.
hepatitis.
We'll call him the Green Lantern.
Or
Yeah.
her.
Or her, yeah, that's right. Could be or her.
It's not green though. It's just
Well, it's kind of a bluey, greeny,
A Green Lantern. That's a good name.
yeah.
green though.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's the you know,
Because that's what you want to hear. You want to hear the turquoise,
The
Just
lantern.
say doing it wrong.
the turquoise lantern.
yeah,
You don't
Or the
have to
lantern.
say
yeah.
doing it wrong.
It's a bit like a kid's book, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Except for you.
Well, yeah. So
Yeah. How's your
speaking of kids books,
kid's book that someone brought up?
well, no. So there's one coming up soon, and it's called the Haunted. Well, I don't know whether I'm going to call it the Haunted Wheelie Bin or the Haunted Rubbish Bin, but yes, thanks to John, who was the inspiration.
Because he's really been
Rubbish.
Well, it was
Well, my bin did move. My bin did move the other night, but so did quite a lot of things. So, you know,
in the
I
wind.
don't think it was haunted.
No, just a bit of wind. Just a bit of wind.
Matt's got you.
I hope everyone's okay too, because I looked outside. I was listening because I couldn't sleep, and I looked outside, and the rain was horizontal.
Yeah.
Never seen horizontal rain before. That was crazy.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because it was hell, wasn't it? Shocking. Yeah, I thought for sure my house, the roof was coming off my place, but yeah, it's still intact as far as I can
good.
tell.
4 days.
So, do we want to do a round? I thought we might start by perhaps doing a bit of a round robin and talk about what has actually worked for you the last. Look, let's just say the last 3 to 4 weeks, I guess. Is there anything out of the ordinary that, you know, has worked for you?
Listing.
Yeah, listing. And yes, John, I have listed clothing today. Several pieces. No, more than several. Quite a few.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
Well,
Well, it's,
I haven't been home that long.
Yeah.
I was a bit tired, and you know.
yeah.
At your age.
Rob says, hi, my name is Rob and I use stock images. Yes, Rob, go back in your corner, I say.
No, we're not not the naughty things you've been getting away with.
Yes,
It's not the topic.
very true. So I'll start off, and I'm going to say, like, quite obviously, my variation listing. You sick of me saying that? Look, those two words together. Variation listings. I love variation listings. They've been still cruising along. I've had a few decent book sales over the last few weeks. Don't seem to be getting much traffic from international, which is disappointing. But hopefully that will turn the corner soon. once eBay finishes all their silly, big US updates. What else? And I must admit, I had not been listing clothing over the last few weeks because I'd been concentrating on trying to get as many of the variation listings listed as I could. But today was the day. I've been saying it for a few days, but today was the day. So I have listed about 10 things, I think. And yeah, I mean, I finished them this evening, and I did notice that a few things had already been looked at. So maybe. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah. So chesty bonds singlets. Apparently they're the go. If you can get, especially if you can get new ones or like dead
Should I be
stock
selling
ones.
underwear?
Hey.
Should I be selling underwear?
Well, it depends what sort of underwear you're talking, Adam. Keep it clean.
Well, I've got women's boy kind of underwear. Boy pants, boy shorts.
Yeah, boy leg.
Boy leg, that one.
Yeah.
I found some chesty bonds, but my husband stole them, so they were only $3.
Yeah. Well, I got a heap of them, and they've been in my death pile for probably 8 or 9 months, and I came down to them. I've met them in the death pile a few times, and then I've just looked at them and got up. Bugger you. And today I thought, no, whatever you find in that, whatever's next in the pile, you have to list it. So, yeah, surprisingly, they are worth quite reasonable money. So, I actually made a variation listing for them. Hoping that
Are
I
they
could pick up some
vintage
more.
or how old are
Well,
how
they
old
are.
they, Gigi?
I'm not sure how old the ones I've got are, but they're made in Australia, so they're definitely vintage. And they're 100% cotton. So, g'day, Hilly. Yeah, so happy with that. G'day, Christian. So, yeah, they comp about I didn't take too much notice of the dark ones, but the white ones, because that's all I was looking at, they comp about $20. There were quite a few listings for 3-packs. And they were selling, they were actually and I'm talking sold comps, they were selling around the $60 mark, like $59 something, plus post.
A stupid question, do they actually make chesty bonds now, or is that a discontinued line?
They did come up when I looked. Hang on, I'll have another look. They did.
They still make them because my husband bought some like a couple of months ago, and
Okay.
I found one in the op shop, but it was an older one. How you can tell is that probably where they're made. It's there.
So the my question is then, because I was curious, are the new ones still 100% cotton?
I can find out for you.
Yeah. I'm just curious because
Yes,
I wondered.
I think they have to be. That's why that's what they're known for. Mum buys singlets for Dad still, and yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered whether they were still making them.
Do you have to still be able to do weights and all that to wear them, or can you just be a slob?
Well, you could wear them like that and be a slob, or you could just wear them under your shirt, John, to keep you warm.
I'm just remember the picture on the front, and I thought, no, I don't look like that. I'm not buying them.
Yeah. Well, I've passed them over so many times, and it was only that when I picked these up, it was on. As a matter of fact, they were free because it was on one of those the days when I went down to St Arnaud and they had the free Friday, and you could just get whatever you wanted. And there was 5 of them there, so I grabbed them. So we'll see what happens. Although, that being said, I'm not sure that I... Better have a look at that. I'm not sure that I put in it that I had 4 of one in a quantity. I better do that right now. So that's me. That's all I can tell. Oh, and the other thing I'm sort of venturing out a little bit today. Finding things in my death pile. I have listed... Oh, yeah, no, I did. I have listed a vintage supper cloth, which, if you don't know what a supper cloth is, it's a very small tablecloth. And it's one of those ones with, the map of Australia in the middle and then all the animals and the flowers and whatnot around the outside. Prices are okay, but the sell-through was pretty decent, I thought. There's been a lot sold. So, again, things that I've had, and I've had those for...
Didn't quite
Are you
hear.
saying a little tablecloth?
Hey?
Are you calling a little tablecloth, is it?
Yeah, so it's a little square, usually a little square one. Some of them can be rectangle, but they're just...
Is that also called a tea towel?
No, it's not called a tea towel, Adam. It's bigger than a tea towel.
What are the dimensions on it?
I can tell you, hang on. Round about... And you'll all go quick because I'm going to say it in inches when I find it. About 35 inches square.
Okay.
So if someone wants to multiply that by 2.5, you'll be able to work out how many centimetres it is. So the idea back in the day was you would put lay out your stuff for supper, and well, this is what we used it for. I don't know whether that's where the name. I assumed that's where the name came from, and then that would get not used as a tablecloth, but that would get put over the top to keep the flies off and whatnot. But I'll tell you what it's about. It's a perfect size to put on a card table. That's what it's the perfect size for. And if you served up an afternoon tea or something, you would put a little supper cloth out on the table, for where you were serving up your afternoon tea. So, yeah.
Are they like netting?
No.
So I've got some of those that my great grandmother gave me that you put them over the food, like.
Yeah, I mean there are those, but these are just they're like a tablecloth. They're usually a finer, not as thick as perhaps a tablecloth might be. They're often a finer fabric, but they made a lot of souvenir ones. I won't say a lot, but they did. So when you went somewhere, you could buy just like the souvenir tea towels, I guess. But yeah.
I had a whole heap with wildflowers from WA, but mine have all been washed to death. My nana gave them when my nana died. I got them, and they're all washed to death, so there's no colour left in.
So are they tea towels or the supper cloths, though?
The supper cloths, the tablecloths.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones that, like all the tea towels had all been well and truly used, but the tablecloths lasted a bit longer.
Yeah.
She used to buy things like that whenever she used to go to the West and visit rallies.
Yeah, I can,
I've been doing well with tablecloths that you embroider. Like my mum gave me a whole heap and they're going for like $80-90.
Yeah, some of them go really well. I've only got one doily up at the moment, a big doily up at the moment. And no one's bought it, but it's had a lot of views for some reason. So I've been having a thought, and people can tell me that I'm going mad or whatever. But I was kind of having this thought that
You're going mad.
It kind of is a bit, like eBay always used to be the place where you went to get those sort of special things. And I'm kind of wondering whether that's the direction eBay is going to head back again. Does that make sense? Like, people might come there to get their interesting
rarer
bits and pieces.
things.
Yeah.
Isn't that
They're
something
knitting
that...
needles, and they're... Or is that more like an Etsy thing? Or
Yeah, I think it's more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sort of the opinion it was sort of going, that sort of stuff's going more towards Etsy than maybe eBay.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. I should have actually comped at what they were going for on Etsy. Maybe I might cross-list it over there tomorrow.
Etsy's more expensive though.
Well, it is, but then you can sell stuff for a lot higher price.
Mm.
So I guess you can weigh it up that way.
If you really want to see what eBay's pushing, just look at their commercials. Most of it's fast fashion towards young people.
Yeah.
Kind of eclectic stuff, at least in the United States. I don't know what it is in Australia.
Yeah, probably not so much here, I don't think. I think the younger ones tend to veer towards depop here. I don't know.
And my daughter's 18. She's started to do stuff on Depop.
Yeah. I mean, I just know in my experience, I can sell stuff on Depop that I can't sell on Depop. I mean, on eBay. And I think
Depop's more for people, though.
Hey?
Depop's more for younger people.
Well, that doesn't have to be. Like, there's some grannies that sell on there,
But when they're looking and doing Google searches, eBay's going to be having all those ads on Google. So they're trying to get the young ones back onto eBay.
They are.
I know.
And I guess the thing for us here in Australia too is that there's not multiple platforms anymore for people. Like, well, there are, but there aren't. Like, there is Etsy, but like for clothing and stuff, there's not multiple platforms like there used to be with Poshmark here, and we don't have like Mercari or any of those ones. So yeah.
What sort of things are you selling on Depop that you're not selling on eBay, Grumpy Granny?
Weird vintage clothing, like. So I thought it was weird, but anyway, apparently there's a thing called granny. Is it granny or
grandpa cardigans?
Grandpa. That's it, like grandpa core they call it, and it's like
granny core. It's granny core.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it should be granny. I should think so. And that real vintage looking stuff, like
my mother's wardrobe.
Yeah.
The people in Northcote, we went down there the other day, they were wearing that stuff. I think it's called, isn't it?
I hate to say it, but it's the stuff that I wore, and a couple of other of us in here might have also worn it, back in the 70s and the 80s. So, like, I could spot it from a mile away, and the brands, like, Mischief's a good brand. I've sold quite a few pieces of that, and even on eBay that sells okay.
I can smell it now.
Yeah. So I did list a few pieces of that sort of stuff today, as well as some jeans. So I'm hoping I need to get my jeans. But what I'm doing, John, I'm going to leave you to the men's. I'm not listing men's jeans at the moment. I'm going to stick to just listing women's jeans.
Well, but what do I do now? Because I've got women's jeans to list. Women's.
But you've only got a few at this stage.
Yeah, well, $1.67. I couldn't say no.
No, that's true. That's true.
But that's not my big thing for lately. And you think I'm going to say variations? No, I'm going to say my big thing has been sitting down listening to some old records and getting them up and running.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Listening to them and listing them. And
you're just saying that because you know that's something that I haven't been doing that I'm supposed to have been doing every day. But yeah, anyway.
And they're just sitting around, and I sold one today, and I sold it for $35 plus post.
Nice.
So wasn't doing anything. Now it's going to off to Queensland.
Yeah. So what you're actually saying to me is that when I'm taking photos of my clothing tomorrow, I need to put a record on, don't I? Because I've got a big pile of them in there, but they all need to be listened to before I list them. So yeah, I do need to do that.
And preferably, I would say listen to something you enjoy.
Oh yeah,
I may or may not have said I'm sick of Larry Norman the other day, and guess what I sold today?
Larry Norman. Yeah. I mean, I was making quite good money on the vinyl.
Yeah.
Last year in particular, but then I sort of got to the point where what I'd already listed had sort of sold. Well, not all of it, but a fair whack of what I'd listed had sold, and I really have been very slack and haven't gotten back into doing it again. I've been listening to too many podcasts and murder bloody court cases and stuff, so I'll have to lift my game. All right, sorry. You now, John. What else? You tell what else. You can be your turn now.
Oh, you mean something else as well?
Well, is there anything else that you?
Well, the other thing I've sold in the last probably 3 months, maybe. I got an opportunity to buy all these really big, like they were 3XL and 3XB. So that's instead of going 25 inches wide from pit to pit, they were 31. So they were a big shirt. And I bought all these pretty well new R.M. Williams shirts. And I thought, this is going to be hard to sell. I've got one left, and I bought a whole heap of them. And they've been fantastic. They were just easy to list because they were so nice, easy to photograph and all that. And they were brilliant.
Yeah, no, you did really well on those.
Just an opportunity, though.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I kind of had a bit of inkling these would do all right. There was an opportunity, and I took it.
Well, good job, I'd say.
Were they brand new, John, or were they second-hand, pre-owned?
There were no tags, but on a couple of them, they did look like they felt like they'd never been folded. They were that style, and they were crisp, very nice. Yeah. So I didn't wash them because
somebody
they were so
who washed them and used Fabulon.
Well, no, because if they're new,
no, it wasn't that. It wasn't because that still takes off that new, as my brother used to say, the newness. He couldn't say newness.
Well, it's like it's almost like there's a dressing. You know, I call it that, but you know,
it's called sizing.
Quilting fabrics are similar too. They've got
it's called sizing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm miscatching that. Go on.
It's called sizing, the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is stuff on them, and once you wash it, that comes off, and that's where the newness, goes away.
Yeah.
But I never mentioned
bad sizing. To answer your question about the bonds, they're still cotton.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Very good.
And I met an interesting guy at a record store last week. It was a record thing that they had at the Bowls Club, and he used to work as a photographer at Mushroom Records. So I bought a lot of records from him, and he had like 18 seconds on the record. So a lot of the records are written on, but that tells the DJ how long they've got to talk for.
Okay.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yeah, because I mean, I think if there's people that their current areas that they sell in are sort of struggling, you have to think about expanding your repertoire a bit. Because I mean, it always used to be that you niched your store down, but it's almost like now you need to
niche up.
Yeah.
I added golf
Unniche.
books to the store
Unniche.
today.
You added what?
I added golf books,
Oh,
golfing
yes,
books
the golf
to my
books.
store
I was
today.
going to say, don't you
Well,
sell clothes for at least another week and a half, 2 weeks. Then you can sell clothes after that.
Well, I'll be interested to see how long it takes for your golf book to sell. Because
Yeah.
I've never had any luck with them. But, yeah.
I've got these very vintage socks
Yes.
that old people like. Well, maybe I should list them on Etsy.
Well, perhaps you should.
If you've got lots of them, try one on Etsy and one on eBay. See which one's.
He's got lots of them.
I've got lots of them.
Brand new, dead stock they are.
Yep.
I got a whole heap of reader books, from like Aussie Nibbles and all that sort of stuff from the tip shop.
They don't sell them.
Hey?
They sell. I just so buy. I got a bulk lot somehow.
Yeah, I just did a variation listing for those, but I got I actually wasn't sure about them. They were I had to actually Google them because there wasn't anything really on eBay, but they were selling for pretty good money on their actual website. So I wasn't sure how to list them, like whether I should set, because they had like 6 books and they'd actually put 1 book of 6 or 2 books of 6 and quite well organised. And then I wasn't sure if I should do 1 book of each, but then after I watched BG's variation thing, I thought I'll do a variation, that way people can pick what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier that way.
Well, and it saves that hassle because inevitably you make a bundle, especially if you make a bundle, say, of 10, unless it's Mills and Boon, John, you inevitably get that person that'll contact you and say, oh, but I only wanted this one and that one out of that bundle. Can you take those out?
No, they've done that with Mills and Boon. But it did mean that was my biggest sale ever.
Yeah,
so,
well, yeah. Well, if they do it with Mills and Boon, then, yeah, it's going to happen, isn't it?
These were called Literacy Network, so they were not deals, but they're by Macmillan, so they're actually all beautifully contacted, and they've.
Did you put homeschooling in your topics?
I will. I haven't started these ones yet, but I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of Aussie Nibbles and what's the other one called? The Chomps, Aussie Chomps.
Yep, Aussie Bites.
Yeah, I got Aussie Nibbles.
I think
Aussie
I've got
Chomps.
some of them. Might be Aussie Bites.
The Chomps don't have as many. They don't have pictures in them. I think they're for the older kids.
Yeah, they'll be for them to progress up.
Yeah, so I've been madly taking photos this week. I think I've taken about 2,000 photos.
Well done. Well, it doesn't take long. Like, I know I took 225 today with what I did today. So it doesn't take long for the photos to add up.
I had to change up what I was doing because my husband normally works from home. So when he was at the office, I actually came into the office where I am tonight and used his desk and set up a better system for me to sit down because I've been standing up and it's been hurting my back. So
yeah.
I kind of having to change up what I was doing. So it was actually really quick. I was surprised at how quick I could do it, changing, just a little thing.
Yep, yep. And that's where I've always said all along, because, I got quite a shock when I did it, was, when not long after I started, the whole thing was to, time yourself doing your processes and that, see how long it takes you. And then someone had said, video yourself. And so I set the iPad up and I did, and I was quite surprised. I mean, the timing thing's good, but it was actually watching myself back that I actually realised, oh, look at all those extra steps you're taking that you don't need to be taking. And if you just, and it was simple things like making sure I went that afternoon and bought an extra eraser, an extra brush that I use for getting the dust off the top of the books, an extra ruler, the one that I broke in half specifically for that purpose, my Lufkin ruler, and made sure all those things were in the photo room so that I didn't have the problem of, I moved that out into the other room and then I had to go back and get it and, and having an area where you can put your stuff so once you've photographed it, you can put it somewhere without actually having to move. Like, those things all help. So, yeah. All right, who's next? Adam.
Hold on one. I've listed. Hold on one second. Sorry, it was hot. I had to turn my heater off. Yep. What's up?
Well, is there anything in particular that you're finding is working for you? Are you finding doing regular listing? If you are regularly listing, is that helping?
Well, I'm starting to fix up my books because most of my books have got one photo. So I'm going through each SKU and re-photographing and updating the item specifics.
It's called photographing, but anyway, that's okay.
Re-photographing.
Photographing. Or I have heard you say before photoing, and I've heard other people say photoing, so I decided perhaps that's a new terminology for reselling. Photoing.
Yeah, that drives me bananas, that terminology.
I know.
Photographing, or take a photo of.
Yep.
It's like-
Yep.
I think it actually is okay, but yeah, we've been trained a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good, Adam.
So I'm getting a new phone shortly, so that means my photos will be quicker.
Yep.
I'll give you a tip with your books, because it's driving me bonkers when I'm trying to buy one. Put the contents in it. Like, a couple of people have just got like 1 or 2 pages and you can't see what the book's about. So if you've got a book that's got a contents page, make sure you take photos of that.
Yeah. Rob says, I photograph with the help of Amazon images. Ho, 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 ho. Isn't he a smarty pants? Don't do what Rob's doing. Sandra just told him that his onions were burning. Yeah, he's using stock images, which is naughty.
Yeah. With Rob, I gotta say he is photoing.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's using other.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the description of the book, wouldn't that tell you what the book's about?
Well, not necessarily, because a lot of people don't put that in, which is why I do.
No, for example, I was searching on your lawn, because my husband actually used to live there. His dad was the second last postmaster of your lawn before they cut it up for coal. And there was a book there that was actually a fairly new one, but I wanted to know if there was any information about the post office in there, which is where they lived. And the contents page would have told me that. And I asked the person that was selling it, but yeah, he didn't even send me a photo back of the contents page, so I'm not going to be buying it from him. But yeah, it was amazing the service you get from other sellers. I'm like, geez, that's pretty bad. So yeah.
I must admit, a few weeks ago I was trying to buy Mrs. Beaton. You remember that, when I was talking about that. And I asked someone to send me photos, more photos than what they had, because you could not see what... It was like an old one, but you couldn't see what the actual condition of the outside of the book was. So I asked for more photos, and they apparently just sent me what they had on their computer, not what... They didn't go and take more photos, because I still couldn't tell what it was like, so I didn't buy it.
Nah, see, I'd take more photos. If someone asked me for photos, I'd take more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I never have anyone telling me to take more photos, because I give them enough to start with. Although I don't do that with the variations, like it's, if the book's in good nick, it's three or four photos at the most.
Yeah, plus your main.
Yeah. I've been listening my goosebumps, so hopefully they might do something. Sandra, would you like to speak?
My variation listings have continued to sell. Not all of them. Putting in books that might be desirable is about the only thing that I'm able to do at the moment. And listing, I'm on holiday at the moment, but that's probably affecting my sales. But just listing, regular listing works the best out of anything.
Yeah.
And making sure that what you're listing is good enough to attract attention. I don't know. I haven't gone back through and killed off some books that I need to, but that's on the agenda.
Yeah.
But I'm shopping at home.
Well done. Good job.
Well, I'm trying to.
Yeah. Are you saying you're not being 100% successful?
No, but I'm trying. Yeah. But
I think I need to get more books.
You do need to get more books.
And apart from that, I did sell 2 puzzles. They were new. So I don't know if puzzles are coming back in again, because one of them was been sitting in there for ages, and that sold, and then another one I listed sold straight away. So maybe puzzles are coming back. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I've been selling a few. I sold one for $65.
Well done.
Yes, mine was $68 something.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
What sort of
I'm
puzzle
hoping
was it?
that she gets that done, and then she wants the $78 one. That's what I'm hoping. Very rare, unopened, from the 90s.
Yeah.
With gold leaf.
Yep.
So
maybe I should list my puzzle. I've got some sheep station game.
Those ones got me into trouble too, because when I was trying to comp them, I ended up on the dark web apparently. It was golden Duke of Golden Art, and then I put the name of the painter in, which turned out to be some sort of erotic painter, and didn't do me the world of good. But
Yeah.
You can't get on the dark web. You need a special browser.
Adam, Squatter's not a puzzle. That's a game. It's a board game.
Oh, okay. So would that be worth selling present?
Well, I don't know whether it is. I'll have a look. I don't know, but I know we used to play it.
I know a lot of it.
It wasn't
Never
anywhere.
played it in my life, Gigi.
It wasn't
I've never
anywhere
played it.
near as much fun as what Monopoly was.
Or
But
cricket.
my parents, because
I
we
played
lived on a farm,
Exploration.
thought that it might be good. So, well, and it depends on what version you've got. So let's see. So they're listing them anywhere from $87 downwards. By the look of it, let's see what's sold. So a 1961 version sold for $34.95 plus post. There's another one, doesn't say what year it was, 40. Another one, 60, 63.80. Then a compact version which sold for 29. So yeah, it looks like it's got a little bit of value.
So I might list it.
Brand
new.
Yeah, you just need to check that you've got all the pieces. Oh, it's brand new. Is it sealed?
Yep.
Ah, well, that might make a difference. I didn't look for sealed. Hang on, let me check.
No, I'm looking now. They're not worth much.
So $60
Oh,
new and sealed.
Yeah.
This one, yeah, 55.
They're worth it.
Depends which version you've got, which cover you've got.
Yeah.
Too. And they did bring out some. Like there is a Holden version somewhere.
No, I'm pretty sure it's an original.
Although it doesn't look like it sold any better than the original by the look. But yeah, if it's sealed, definitely I'd put it up. Hilly, did you build the rocket? You mightn't be able to talk.
No, I haven't built the rocket.
For those that don't know, that was some Lego that Hilly got. But like I said, you'd have to build it because make sure all the pieces were there.
I did have a sale at 5 o'clock this morning.
Oh, good. Well, that's good.
It was a Nicorette Quick Miss
Oh.
2-pack.
Okay. You sold a few of those, haven't you, or is that the first one?
No, I sold of the I think I sold some Chewies, or no, it might have been the Miss. Yeah, I keep my eye out when I'm at Coles. They can often have them on their reduced shelves. So I bought it for $10 and I sold it for 35 plus postage.
Good job.
So should I be selling my chocolate?
Pardon?
Should I be selling my chocolate?
Well,
I paid
maybe.
48 cents.
Maybe.
Is there any chocolate left?
It's gingerbread. What is it? Gingerbread chocolate, isn't it?
Yeah, but I melted
any
mine in the microwave.
Is there any chocolate left, Adam?
Yeah, I got 2 blocks.
2 blocks.
2 out of
How many were in the photo? There were 6 blocks, wasn't there?
10.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Yeah.
That was a week ago, wasn't it? No, it was a couple of days. I don't know.
Rob's just saying, just make sure the items are still in date.
Yes. I did sell some that were due to expire at the end of September. I sold them about a month ago.
Yep.
So
Just realised that it's not actually in date.
Yeah, people will still buy them if they're something like that. They'll still buy.
yeah,
It would have it'd be a bit. It's probably a best buy, not a
Best
used buy.
Best before the 14th of August. I wonder it was 48 cents.
Certain
38
food
cents.
products are not allowed on eBay. Listings for food items that are allowed must follow our policies. That's all coming from Rob. Expired foods are prohibited, so you can't sell your chocolate.
Yeah, but it's not expired. It's best.
No, but that's classed as
Yeah.
expired.
I've sold best expired stuff on. I was selling some discontinued Twinings lemon tea that wasn't being made anymore, and it was out of date by a couple of months, and it was flying out the door because people were trying to stock up on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any of my listings pulled down.
Yep.
You can sell out of date printer cartridges. I've been selling some of those.
Yep.
Well, maybe I should leave it on.
Yeah, well, I guess we don't eat those, so it's not as important.
Yeah, well, their ink's still right as long as they're sealed.
Yeah.
All good.
Watch out, Rob's typing again.
I'm pretty sure I've got. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob said printer ink
Right.
is not the tastiest.
So I've got printer cartridges. I've got boy leg panties. About 50 brand new.
Can you
three
not call them
packs.
panties?
What are they? Undies.
It just doesn't sound right.
We're in Australia now. Undies.
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 Yeah. Knickers. Bloomers. Rob says. Knickers, bloomers, long johns.
Bloomers are different. Long johns are way
No,
different.
he's run out of terms. Commando.
We could
Oh,
go
yeah,
for lingerie.
Yeah, you could. Not these particular ones, but yeah. Would that? No, I can't say that.
Lee, What about you? What's been working for you?
Yeah.
Can you speak?
I
Bronwyn
was,
says apple
just
catches and
cooking.
witches' breeches. There's more terms. All right, sorry, Lee.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I've just well, one of the things that's has worked worked and worked against me a bit was I put a 25% off coupon in my store about 8 or 9 days ago, and because I wanted to basically, I did that sort of thing where I looked and found all my listings that were, I didn't realize how many listings sort of under $20 I had, and old stock and small, CDs and things like that. So I basically put a 25% off coupon through on things under $20.
Yep.
And I have sold quite a few items. But I did I got caught out a bit today with a guy who was pretty bloody disingenuous, really. Because, I wrote to him and said, I offered him, it was $23.95, was only listed for half a day, so I should have probably waited. But he said, I'd be willing to pay $18.50 plus the postage, so $30 all up. And I said, okay. So I discounted it to $18.50. And because the voucher was running in my store, he just added it on in the checkout. And I messaged him and said, that's a bit unreasonable. And I had already given you a big discount. And he said, I didn't see a problem with it. And I thought, well, the item, anyway, in the end, but you sort of see how much you're giving away, like, of stuff. But I have sold quite a few older CDs, and by quite a few, I mean probably sort of getting on to 15.
Yep.
So it has worked. So if you do have stock that you're willing to take a hit on, but clear it, whatever you want to cap it at $19.99 or $24.99 or whatever. So I've been really mindful listing stuff in my store over the last 8 days to sort of, I've put a couple of things just above $20, or I've not put it in, just so I don't get new items, or I've added to, like, I've put a CD in it, say $14.95, but put it in at $16.95 or something. I thought tonight actually I'll turn the coupon off and I'll redo another coupon at 20% on stuff $20 and under, because it's still a good discount, but the 25 was probably a bit generous. But I'll be honest, I've moved a lot of CDs. I've sold a lot of CDs in the last. I had a really bad weekend or week where 4 or 5 days where I had nothing. And then this weekend and this last 24 hours and end of last week, I've sold quite a few things, including a big bundle of CDs, a box set of CDs went today that I've had for ages at full. So I mean, I'd reduced the price over time, but they had paid the reduced price. So that was really good. It was a $60 sale. So yeah, I'm pretty happy, and I mean I won't sort of spoil things, but I have had some sales in the clothing store.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Keep that for the.
So I've had some good sales there, doing new photos and changing up descriptions. But yeah, look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the thing with I guess what's selling and what isn't selling. I mean, if you, I had a really interesting chat today with a young guy at my post office, because he's not Indian or he's I don't know, whatever. He's a bit of a hustler, lovely guy, works at the post office because his dad and father and brother own it, and he works there. But he's got a degree, and I was talking to today, and he said, because he's always asking me what I'm selling, and he was talking about setting up Shopify, which was really interesting, and said he sets up Shopify stores for people. And I said, well, that's fantastic, but how does that actually work once you've set it up? And he said, well, then you have to spend all the money so that people come to the store. And he said, you've got to sort of be starting with a certain amount of budget. Because I thought to myself, I wonder if I might do something. But he was talking about, like following trends, and he's setting up Shopify stores for people, basically where all of the items in the store are drop shipped.
Right.
And because they're working with whoever they're working with, the Alibabas and all the Chinese companies that do drop shipping, they're just seeing what's trending. So if everyone's buying, yellow yo-yos, they'll jump on and, do yellow yo-yos. And when yellow yo-yos are no longer popular and something else is popular, they're on that bandwagon. Whereas, like, we're not on that bandwagon because we're buying physical stock, have CDs or books or whatever we are. But even if something was trending, like he was talking to me about stuff, I thought, I'm not going to, like, be caught anymore going and buying things that I don't understand. So, I mean, the things that I understand are music and books and some vintage bits and bobs. And, there's other things I understand. And if I saw them at a good price and I can flip them, I'd buy them. But my bread and butter, until they go out of fashion, I mean, until there's not a CD player left in the world or anyone that wants to read a hard copy book, that it is what it is what it is, and that's what I do. Because I'm interested in it. I'm not interested in making money selling yellow yo-yos because that's what everyone wants this week or next week or for the next 2.5 weeks. Finger widgets and all those things that come in out of fashion. So that's kind of where it's at. But I will say I've been surprised this time. I mean, the discount at 25% is probably fairly keen, although I've seen people do 30 and 40%. Remember when Matt did last year, Matt was clearing stuff out of his store and he did a 40% off over the weekend. I think if you did that, you'd have to have a lot of traffic or a lot of followers, because it's taken time, I think, for people to see my discount voucher and use it. But, I have probably sold 15. So cheap CDs. So I've had turnover, but it's not a lot of money. But there's CDs going out of my, SKU that I'm very happy to see gone.
Yeah, well, it's good. But then you've also then got that's money that you've got for stuff that's been just sitting there that can then be put back into, if that's the way you're going, you can put that back into...
And possibly new customers too.
Yeah, higher value stock too. And look,
I mean, and I've been, shopping. I mean, I suppose what I've built up over time is a knowledge of what, in terms of CDs, what artists, what type of CDs will actually move. So I like today again, I haven't had time because I've been really busy today at work. And by the time I got everything done, I'd lost the light, so I'd got a whole lot of photos. That's why having a light box at night is really important, because if I can't shoot during daylight hours, I get shitty photos. So I had a ton of what I know will be good CDs that'll, from this deceased estate, that'll sell through.
Yeah, you must remind me tomorrow to do something about sending you the details about that light, you and Sandra.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit disappointing when it was such a beautiful day today, and the sun's obviously, lasting a little bit longer. But by the time I finished work and fed the dog by 6 o'clock, it was just too dark where I shoot, and I thought, oh, fuck it, But I have got a plan. I thought tomorrow morning I might just stand there and just shoot CDs. That's one other thing I've been doing. I've been bulk loading. Like, I did do sort of 6 listings between meetings. I got home at lunchtime and I got 6 listings up, but I've been shooting sort of like all books and then all CDs.
So batching.
And batching, and then when I don't know if this does any difference or not, and then when I've been ending and selling similar, which I don't do every day just because I don't get time, but when I do it now, I'm like just ending CDs and redoing those, and then just ending books, or doing a certain type of book. Like I might do all my Christian books or Bibles or whatever I've got.
Yeah.
So look, I think it's just weird, isn't it? Like a week ago I was crying and. I wasn't really crying, but I was fake crying, and then I had a good week. Not a great weekend, but I had a bit of an uptick again. But it's all CDs.
Yeah, and look, I have to say,
and one vintage DVD.
there is a lot to be said about selling what you know, and I mean that probably hit me. I did realise that when I was doing my photos today, because I'd been putting off doing clothing for a while, as I said, and like jeans, I just find jeans so easy. Like I just can do them in very short space of time. I can actually do the listing in a very short space of time because I know them, and I probably should be doing more of them.
Well, I can't flat lay. I mean, I think pretty much once I get through the clothing I've got, that'll, that would be it. I mean, unless I was out and I found a pair of 1970s vintage, Levi's, of course, everyone would buy them. But I bread and butter brands of clothing I won't worry about anymore. But like for me, on Sunday afternoon, like I redid 8 pairs of jeans, and the photos took me 45 minutes because I'm flat laying, I'm on the floor. By the time you get all the angles and all the measurements, it's just like, it was fast to list them because I've obviously got a system to list them, but the photos are not fast.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
I mean, I flat lay mine, but I've got a table that I flat lay them on. So, yeah.
So that's me, CDs.
Very good. Rob.
Hello.
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 Hello. How's the books going?
Good. 2 went out today and a puzzle.
Oh, very good. Oh,
Today's post.
puzzles.
Oh.
Mm,
Yes. No, they're moving along nice.
very good.
Good.
How's collectible cards going?
Good. Not too bad. Getting a good average every day now, so it's becoming more stable.
Yep, that's
which
good.
is nice to see.
Very good.
There's that sort of stability there.
So Rob, what's sort of trending, like, say, for example, with DVDs? Is it random, or is it really you do sell more TV series than you sell movies, or do you sell more cult movies, or, like, is there any rhyme or reason to what you sell, or what sells?
I think the good thing about the store is that it's a variety store. So I do sell quite a lot of everything. Notice a lot of the older sort of style movies are selling quite well at the moment internationally. And the old dependable Christmas stuff that still goes. I can't get my hands on enough of that stuff, which is yeah. But yeah.
Sorry, Rob, can you repeat that? I missed the first thing you said. Sorry.
It's the older sort of movies, the sort of movies that are kind of not well produced, low demand or low production quantities basically.
Yep.
They're going quite well. We have a company here called BPS, which make a lot of, well, not really a lot of, but for me in my area, there's a lot of DVDs from them, and they're a lot of the sort of older movies that you've probably never heard of, and they're selling quite well at the moment, so which is quite nice. And then, of course, the old dependables as well, British TV.
Yeah.
That just flies out as well.
Very good.
But no, it hasn't been too bad. Numbers are going up again, which is good.
Well, that is good.
There was a big downturn there for a time, but it's starting to come back a bit.
Well, that's good news. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Bax.
A bit less stress.
Young Bax?
Yes.
Yes.
I am. I'm here. I'm about to head off. But
also, I thought I'd grab you before you did.
Yeah, I'm about to go. But just a couple of little things for me. When I'm out and about, just going to shops and stuff, it's not that I'm not selective in the first place, but I've just found that I'm being even more selective in what I decide to buy. And I've found that some of the stuff that I was being selective with last week has already sold straight away, which has been really good. And I've noticed with what I bought, in particular last week, lots of sort of women's mini shorts and denim skirts.
Good old Daisy Dukes.
Them cheap enough. They're not Daisy Dukes, but they're probably not
short.
far off it. Yeah, they're short. There's been a lot of interest from people on Depop. Yep. It hasn't converted into any sales, but if you can get them super cheap, you might make it. It's only really bread and butter. It's all you're going to make, but don't overlook them. And it doesn't even have to be like a well-known brand. They, like I think one of the pairs is like Just Jeans, another one's Rip Curl.
Yep.
Another one's Esprit. I mean, so it seems to be getting a bit of traction on Depop anyway.
That's good.
They're well-known brands to me, Bax.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not. I mean, Just Jeans is sort of bread and butter. I mean, and I remember this time last year, I sold a couple of mini skirts that were no-name brands, and they sold quite quickly. It didn't seem to matter what the brand was, but yeah, denim skirts and shorts. So I'll be looking to modify.
Yeah, I could. This time last year, I know when I came back from after having my surgery, like shorts and denim skirts, like I wanted more because I was selling them as quick as I was.
And they're really easy to photograph as well. Like they're so easy to photograph. It just you don't really have to take that many photos to put together a decent listing. Yep. So I'm sort of looking for them a little bit more sort of going into the warmer months because I think they will move quite quickly.
Yeah, very good.
All right, everyone, I'm going to head off. So have a good night, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Bax.
See ya.
Bye, Bax.
See you later.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Thanks, bye.
Anyone else want to chitty chat? Matt, the Lamp, Bronwyn, Neil, if you wish. Matt.
Could tell you what I haven't been listing for about a month because I moved house.
Well, that's just no excuse. Like, for heaven's sakes.
Well, I also had COVID and had to work on jobs.
Yep.
It's not really an excuse, is it?
No.
But in saying that, I still had sales every day. Like there was no days without sales, and some days were like $200, $300 days. It's just like how does that happen when you're not even doing anything? You know, I'm sure it doesn't last forever, but I'll get back to listing this week, and you know, doing the whole damn thing.
Eventually run.
How have you found moving with it all? So have you been able to get yourself set up with a spot to do your photos and all that sort of stuff now? And
I have. It's I'm still like I've got a fairly large collection of just my own books, and I'm still unpacking those. So it's just it's a tough one. It's like if you're familiar with Mel's Shed, it's just like that, but really condensed and it's just a bit mad, really. But yeah, it'll be good once it's all. I've just got my own books up on shelves and then set them in boxes.
Well, if you need a hand moving stuff from storage into my property, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've got enough space. I mean,
yeah, I've got plenty of space now. I've still got space on the bed.
I mean, how many listings have you got? Have you broken 1,000 yet?
Yeah.
Ooh, I can have a look for you. Let's have a look.
Well, be careful. You don't want to break 2,000. You got to keep it under 2,000.
Yeah.
But
Adam has 2,364. Oh dear.
Why do you have to keep it under 2,000, Matt? Sorry, can I
because well, I mean, disgruntled octopus reckons that's the optimal way to do eBay. And yeah, I mean
we sell books.
But you know he sold manga before, so that's
Yeah, the only books he sells are manga and bloody witch books, because apparently there's a lot of witches that live around him.
Yeah, occult books sell well.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, you got to take that advice with a grain of salt. I mean, he was full time for a period and then ditched it. So it's different things. Everyone's.
I've listened to a few people that recommend. They say things like, "Well, if you've got 11,000 books in your store, you've got something for everybody that comes looking."
I agree.
And because he keeps his store turning all the time. And I thought, well, I obviously need to increase my listings.
You probably do, yes.
I totally agree with that. And I think there was a discussion the other night which was fascinating. I had to dip out, but someone had said, that, well, if you have too many listings, it's difficult for someone to search through your store. And I used to think like that, but then at some point I thought, well, if they want to keep searching, they'll search. But if they don't, they'll perhaps buy what they'll buy, and someone else will buy something. But I guess I have a friend who's got about 16,000 comic books listed, and he's been doing it full time for many years, like probably decades. And I don't know what he's doing now, income wise, but he mentioned maybe a couple of years ago he had done 175,000 in the previous year.
Wow.
So I mean, comic books are great because they're small. And he has, or at the time I visited him a few years ago, he had all the stock just in like a garden shed in the backyard.
Wow.
So, I just think when you've got that amount of stock, if you can store it, of course, you just have the potential for more sales, Yeah. But I mean, Rob said the same thing, like he's just got to keep getting new things on there, and then that drives more sales, and you sort of, you get a regular income to service a mortgage or whatever, through one way or another. And that's sort of my goal.
Yeah. Look, because I have well over 2,000 items in my store, but as my take on that too is, though, I mean, if you were selling new books, like newer, books, speaking of the devil, you heard us talking about him. He's gone again. If you had a lot of, if you're selling new books, you probably could have a smaller store. But I think if you're doing like the likes of what a lot of us do, which are the older collectible stuff, that's where you got one of. It's not like you're buying, 10 of that book and 10 of that book and you replenish them. It's a different ball game, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I put to you in the thing in the one of those threads was, do you think reselling as you're doing it right now will exist in another 5 years? And I think it will, if books are mainly your thing. Obviously it's different for different people. I think like Lee was saying with CDs and books, I think what she's doing, that'll still exist in 5 years. And I even think the CD market will become a bit like vinyl at some point, where people really want to get a certain CD and they have to pay a premium for it because they're not as easy to get, as time will pass.
Yes, yeah, of course.
But and I can give an example of that, even for me. So obviously I probably like you've got your own personal big collection of books, and I've got a fairly substantial CD library. But I was watching the ABC last night, I think, on Missy Higgins, and I've followed her since she was a baby and won bloody Triple J Unearthed and whatever. But I don't really go to the record store much anymore. I don't go to JB. I don't go, there's not many CDs new to go and buy. So last night I got on eBay and I thought, well, I'll have a look for her last album, which was a couple of years ago. And it's as scarce as hen's teeth because, they don't press many CDs anymore. And it was the cheapest one I could find was $25 plus postage. Yeah. And
Can I just confirm? Someone said they get brittle with age. Is that correct?
They get disc rot. They can.
They can get disc rot, but a lot of that depends on how and where they've been stored. I mean, I don't have a single CD in my own collection that's got any issues. And the thing I like about CDs over vinyl is, like, if you've got a nice old vinyl record and it gets a scratch, that's the end of that. Whereas, like, I've got CDs or bought CDs and thought, oh, my God, they're scratched to buggery, and even not scratched to buggery, but, with quite a few scratches on them, CDs will still play because of the way they're made, and obviously you can go if you really want to, which I've done, and get them resurfaced. So I had a really collectible Shaking Stevens, like, who wants Shaking Stevens CDs? If I get the early, I'm not talking, like, when I say CDs, I don't mean greatest hits. Like, it's not the best of, Shaking Stevens or whatever. I'm talking about, he released half a dozen things on vinyl, and then in the 80s when CDs came out, they were repressed onto CDs. So those CDs that were pressed in the late 80s up to about maybe 92 are rare, and fans will pay for them. So, like, I've sold 2 of his CDs now for $49, but I've gone and got both of them resurfaced. I've paid $2 to get them resurfaced and sold them almost overnight. Yeah, and both of them for good money. So yeah, you're right. I think CDs, will go like vinyl in a way, because the scarcity of them and the concern of the technology being lost has driven it all back. Like cassettes. I mean, I've got a record fair in 2 weeks, and people just come rifling through, and I see young guys, I mean, in their 20s, buying bagfuls of tapes, and I'm like, what are you going to do with those?
Yeah, I'll play them on the tape player.
Well, I mean, you've only got to look at the fact that VHS is still selling, and I mean, I've sent them to Kuwait. I sent a set of Home Alone VHS to Kuwait, but I think there are places where people have got VHS players, and maybe whether it's at their lake house or their, when they go camping or in the caravan. I don't know why they buy them, but they do. I mean, I always feel that there will be a market, like, for DVDs to a certain extent. Like, I always look at it as far as kids go, because, if you just look at, because I live in the country, a lot of people don't have great internet service here, or they can't actually get normal NBN service, so they've got to get, like, Starlink or whatever it is. And that's expensive. And if you've got kids, and I know what my kids were like, wanting to replay the same video over and over and over again, people are going to still want to get DVDs that their kids can play over and over again in those places. I know that's not everywhere, but there is still a certain market for that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
there's lots of people that have holiday houses in like remote places too, and they have lots of DVDs for the people to play, so they don't actually have a streaming service. So
like B&B.
Yeah, Airbnbs and holiday houses and stuff.
Yeah.
I just sold a box of DVDs that I wanted to get rid of to someone, so it's a good way to get rid of a whole heap.
Yeah, well, I've got a box of them under my bed that I need to do something with.
What kind of DVDs are they?
They're all
Under the bed.
They're all new sealed ones, to say.
I've got 4 boxes of cassettes. I've got a list. I've only done one box so far, so
okay.
Sold a few.
Well, that's good. That is good.
I think I've actually got a Stevens vinyl. I have to get it, go and list it now.
Yeah, I was so excited when I got my first cassette player. I tell you what, so excited.
I've still got mine in the house, but we were just saying about in the cars. The cars don't have cassette players anymore, but you can actually get a cassette player that you can plug into the cigarette lighter that goes into the car. So
yeah.
Oh wait.
Thank God the Bogans have got something to listen to Akadaka on then.
Just
I just
buy
went
your
on to
boombox, put your boombox on the back seat.
Yeah, or fill the boot
I just went on to JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I didn't even think about JB Hi-Fi last night for that Missy Higgins CD. And this was released 3 years ago, and it's not even on JB.
Ah.
Like the biggest CD seller in Australia, not alongside Tom, doesn't even have it in stock. So this is where like if you're collecting artists or you still want physical media, it is going to get harder and harder. And if you're looking for that, like a lot of stuff, I mean, not everything's so. I mean, it's just well known that Joni Mitchell and Neil Young took themselves off Spotify. So if you want their music, you have to buy it.
Yes.
Or download it from a pirate service. But you have to have physical media if you want their music.
Yeah.
But there's also other obscure stuff that isn't on Spotify because it's just obscure. And that's the sort of stuff I'm going through trying to find.
Yeah. But I also have to say, when it does come to music, and maybe it's just because I'm old and grew up with vinyl, but, the stuff that's on vinyl, like some of my favourite stuff that I've listened to when I was listening to the records that I was selling, it just doesn't sound the same. Like it's when you get it on a streaming service, it doesn't sound the same. Even if you download it from a pirate, website that you shouldn't download it from. But I'm just saying, like there is something. There's a certain sound to it when you put it on a record player. As long as you've got, you've got to have the right a subwoofer and speakers and what to make it sound good. But there's something to be said.
A lot of it's
physical.
the bit compression.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you got it like an MP3 player that's like 64K, it's going to be crap and tinny and garbage. But if you put it at 256 and it's a huge file, it's almost like a record.
Yep. Okay.
There's also other like completely lossless formats that are out there that are also really huge for files. But yeah, I mean, even older CDs do have some kind of a little bit of a tinny sound sometimes.
Yeah. 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 And
the thing I think with music though is that it does really come down to what you're playbacking on. Because I see a lot of kids, like there's a Perth record and there's a few vinyl record clubs and things that I follow on Facebook, and the young kids are going out and they're buying these things that have got like it's a turntable with built-in speakers, and you're like. They're going and spend $60 on a record and then play it on a $200 turntable, and it's like that's it's
I paid $69 at Audi, Lee, and the only reason I bought that, I didn't have one anymore, and I bought that because I've got all these 78 that were my father's.
Yeah.
And so I bought, and his family. So I bought this cheap ass $69 thing, and it plays the 78s beautifully. I don't know if they sound like they used to, but my dad was chuffed. He listened to those records and he tapped along and he knew them all.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, even my record player's not. It wasn't overly expensive, but I still had my subwoofer and speakers. So, from my bigger sound system, from when from the time back when your TV sounded crap and you wanted it to sound better. So I just plugged it all into the record player, and it's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I've got everything all over the house. I've got a full vintage stereo. I've got micro thingo. I've got something in the TV. I've got another stereo in my office. Like I've but if I really want to sit and listen to something, I go into the I'd say one room that doesn't have eBay stuff in it, but it does. But it's got the sound, my original, like my vintage sound system all set up, all done, whatever. And when I sit and listen to music there, I think, oh my God, there is a lot you don't hear on if even for a micro system.
And I probably wouldn't hear it now, Lee, because I did listen to too much of that stuff at too high a volume back in the day, and now my hearing is suffering for it.
I've just been to a record. They had a record like thing at the local bowls club, and then a week later, I discovered that I've been driving past this place every day, pretty much, and didn't realise that there was a record store there. So I went in and had a look, and my husband's trying to get Bruce Springsteen, which he was into that in the 80s, but we all listened to the radio, so we didn't, or cassettes, so we didn't necessarily have a record player because the record player was actually in the lounge room. So if we wanted to, hibernate in the bedroom, it was the radio or the cassette for me. So so I'm now, like, I got into Bryan Adams in the 90s, and that was CD era, so I'm trying to find vinyl of his, which is quite hard, but he's trying to find Bruce Springsteen, and that's even harder because everyone wants it. So if you've got Bruce Springsteen, list it because you'll get heaps of money.
Yeah, I think I've got a few in my
But
pocket.
when we were at this show, there was a young kid. He would have been about 12, and he had like a vinyl-looking jacket. He looked a bit like a miniature version of the Fonz. And he was actually like this guy that the photographer Neil Bartlett that I met that worked at Mushroom Records. He said, yeah, you had lots of stories. I said, we'll have to get you on and chat about all your stories. But he goes, oh, this guy's a hustler. You watch, he'll try and beat me down. And sure enough, he goes, oh, I'll pay $10 on this. And apparently there was another guy that got pissed off with him because he beat him down on the price, and he goes, oh, I can sell this for like $200. And so he was openly being cheeky and saying to it. But I said to Julian, I said, well, he's learned, the person that sold it to him has learned his lesson, hasn't he?
Big time.
There's only one way you learn, by those sort of mistakes.
Yes.
But yeah, it was funny that this young kid, and I thought, well, good on him. He's a bit of a hustler already.
Yeah.
Well, that's because kids use their phone and check values. Like he could have been a reseller. Like I've got a record fair in 2 weekends, and I mean most of the time I buy more than I sell because when I go around and see what. Because most of the majority of the sellers, even the CD sellers, devalue CDs because everyone in there trying to get a holy grail, piece of vinyl. So I'm wandering around going, well, you got all these great CDs here for $1. I'm going to go and get them, even if I'm only selling them for $15 or $20, but they're worth more than $1.
Yeah.
So what I found at the record fair though was that there was mainly people there that they didn't have any sort of online presence, because I was asking them, do you do eBay? Do you have a shop? Oh no, I'll just come to these fairs. So because they're not necessarily looking at eBay or that sort of stuff, I don't know where they're getting the value of their prices from, but there is gold, because I had that experience with the doll exhibition where there was a couple of things because they weren't online that I've sold heaps of stuff that was they like the whole doll catalogues that I got for $4 that I sold one for $60. So it's like so I think those are the sort of things that you want to look out for at the record fairs, where people don't have an online presence, that they may not be pricing there.
Well, I mean, I'd say, like, I go to the record fair. I mean, I've been going to the one I go to in Perth for about 10 years, but the guys that run it, they started it, like, this year's the 40th anniversary. It's called, they're the Perth Rock and Roll Record Collectors Club, and I got roped into being the secretary because they were about to go down the toilet because they the blokes are all, the average age is close to 80. And a lot of those guys are still selling. I mean, I know a lot of the regular sellers just because I've been there a long time. And virtually, I mean, 80, 90% of them are not online because because they're old. So, and they don't necessarily go onto Discogs. And sometimes they work off old pricing from catalogues that they've had from the 70s and 80s. It's like, it's really interesting to go to like get to know some of them. But at the end of the day, when I buy things, I think if you've put a price on it, if it's worth 20, 30, 50 bucks and you asking $2 and you're happy with that because you want to sell it, I just give people the money and that's the end of it. But I wouldn't rub it in someone's face that I've just spent $2 on a $45, Shakin' Stevens CD.
Yeah. Well, this kid was was being a little shit, and he'll learn his lesson too. But it's kind of, but yeah, like my take out of going to record was talking to this guy Neil and telling me the stories. Like, he's best mates with Brian Mannix and from the Uncanny
Jesus,
X-Men.
is he still alive?
Yeah, he's up in Queensland. Neil had so many stories, and I'm standing there. My husband's like, hurry up, and I'm like, this is gold, like, so that made my day. So like, he's got he's actually having trouble with YouTube, so I've messaged him about coming and joining all of us, and he's got so many stories to tell, and showed me some photographs of Paul Kelly and stuff that he'd taken and things. So
he could have a really
like
cool
those sort of
YouTube
things.
channel.
Yeah, no, like, his record collection would be awesome. So so hopefully he'll, because he's called the Aussie Radio Show or something like that. So it's pretty cool. So
very good.
Yeah, those are the sort of stories that you don't get by just buying a record from someone saying, there you go, there's your $2. It's like I chat to anyone, so kind of
Yeah.
But Lee, are you gonna videotape the? It sounds like the record thing is quite big over there. The record fair.
It's not big compared to any other capital city, probably except Tasmania, Hobart. There's about, so I think we sell tables, so we get about 50 tables of stock, which might be there's one seller who comes every time with 5 tables. He just likes to spread out, but I mean the average is probably 1 or 2. So there's probably only, say, maybe 30 sellers, but there's they have 50 tables of stock. And some just have records. And I mean, a lot of the old guys are just bringing the same stuff back each time because they're just trying to get rid of it. So they, but when someone new comes along with new stock, honestly, it's like a seagull on like on a chip on the beach, because people, and there's always deceased estates. Like, there's a lot of people whose brothers more than mainly brothers that have had these amazing collections and passed away, and they'll know a club member and then they'll bring the collection down, but often they undervalue it, because the thing as well is if you all of a sudden inherit a couple of thousand records, you can't sit down and go through and work it all out. So if you say, okay, look, I'm just going to sell them for $5 each, someone's going to go in there and find a $100 record or a $40 record, but at the end of the day, you're there with the purpose to clear them out, and that's what a lot of the sellers do.
Friends of mine went to Discogs, Lee. They got the deceased estate. They went straight on to Discogs and had a look. And
but I mean,
first thing they did was sell
hundreds of
some
records
stuff.
to do that too. You've got to do that hundreds of times. And the thing that people don't realise, Discogs is a little bit like eBay too. It's like when op shops go onto eBay and find something that's $60 but haven't discovered that it only sells for $20.
Yeah.
When you go to Discogs, like, say, for example, here's a CD, Bruce Springsteen. So he put his record out, whatever year it came out. Then it came out in all those countries. Then it came out in different formats. Then it came out and it was repressed. Then so when you go in, say, on a Bruce Springsteen record or a Bruce Springsteen album, you might come up with 200 listings on Discogs, because Discogs is every variation. So
yes,
you then have to sit down and work out which one you've got, because they're not all worth the same amount of money.
But they have a number.
Yeah, they do have a number. But if you go onto that number's on the same number on every one that was pressed. But it then comes, so if you scan a barcode like I do, you scan your barcode into Discogs, sometimes it is a unique barcode and the one thing will come up. But if I was scanning in a Beach Boys album that's got a particular barcode on it, it's going to bring up a whole range of everything that's under that. Like that barcode might be on the ones that went to 15 different countries and on the repressing. So it might have got pressed 3 times in the year 2000 and each time it's got the same thing. And I've got the one from 2002 and but the one I'm selling is from 2010. I know. I think it's great when people find Discogs, but if you got a collection and you wanted to value it, it will take you days, hours and hours and hours of work.
Just remember, UPCs do cost businesses and record companies money. UPCs are not free.
Yeah, that's why they're if an album is barcoded, it's going to have the same barcode. It's just sold in a different country.
Yeah, S says you have to look at the catalogue number, not the UPC code, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, you may.
Yep. Just you were talking about video VHSs before.
Yes.
Mikey's picked up 2 or 3 video recorders today. Are they worth anything?
They can be, depending on how many heads they've got.
One's got 6 heads.
Yeah.
Also, if it's got a DVD attached to it, the DVD burner.
And one's got a DVD attached.
Yeah, they tend to go all right because people want, then they can record their what's on the DVD.
Have a look at the back of the player for the model number.
Yeah, it's the brand, the model number, and how many heads of the sort of main things.
And just remember, if you buy them from Tassie, they've always got 2 heads.
It's preferable to have 6 heads there, Adam. You need 6 heads, not 2.
The downside of the video players and recorders is the shipping.
Yeah.
So make sure you've got to factor that in properly and make sure that you're not
a medium box,
and that you can ship it.
I do a plus post.
Yeah.
Oh, always do plus post, never free post.
But I'm more meaning the cost. Like, make sure that when you do calculate it, that you're allowing for, because you can't just wrap it up in a bit of cardboard and send it. You need to make sure it's going to get there safely.
Yeah. No, he picked them up for free.
Oh, excellent.
So that was all right, off marketplace.
Almost as new.
Very good.
Hilly, what I would tend to do with those.
S says, make sure you look at the specs of the VCR. Some can play NTSC and PAL videos, and they're worth more.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Which they will be too, because they can play both formats.
Yeah, that'll tell you if you look at the back of the VHS. It should tell you near the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
What should it say?
It'll say what, NTSC or PAL?
Yeah, it should say at the back of it. Because I've picked up a few VHS and DVD players.
It'll usually say it on the front too, like it says that. It usually says right at the front, because it'll have...
Yeah, and the DVD players will say at the back too whether they're a Region 4, Region 2 or whatever. They'll say at the back of them as well.
Yeah, Region 3.
Hilly, the thing with the VHSs is, bottom line is, the only way you can get a VHS player now is if you buy a second-hand one, because you can't buy them. So if you've got ones in working conditions or even for parts, they sell. But what I would tend to do and what I see people do is, if you clean it up and you make sure it's working, you'll get a good amount of money for it just on Facebook Marketplace, because then the person's going to come and pick it up. You can work out what you're happy to get less, because you're not paying the eBay commission, you're not having to ship it. So the VHSs sell in, a flash on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, good advice.
Oh, this one's good.
I don't necessarily think that would be the case in Donald, but could be wrong.
No, I mean, it depends where you live. If you live in a capital city.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking.
Yeah. I mean, if you got them out there, but see, you should probably find I always think if you live in an old area where you live, there must be bloody shitloads of old ladies and whoever lives out in Donald that's got VHSs and stuff to the wazoo that's just sitting there gathering dust.
Probably.
And
You'll
probably
be able to find out soon, won't you?
Speaking of dust, when I got
Be
the
going to the
free
garage sale.
VHS, you've got to be careful if you don't have the remote control. I've got a VHS player, cleaner, so you can put the cleaner in, and the same with the CD players or DVD players. If you don't have the remote, you can't actually clean them because the CD actually you've got to go through the menu and press a certain code. And because I didn't have the remote control, I couldn't do that. So you got to be careful if you don't have the remote.
Yeah.
You can't really clean them, but you can take off the cover and clean the heads manually.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah.
Mikey's just going to ask you a quick
Which I have
question.
to do.
His name's Mikey.
Hello.
Hi, Mikey.
Hi, Mikey.
How are you guys? Oh, thanks for the info. It's
Hi, Mikey.
hello. Oh, everyone's flashing. I don't know what all that means. The one I got here is it's a beautiful Ulysses. It's a Sony.
Yeah, that's good.
And it is. It's a VHS Paladin NTSC. All three of these came with the remote.
Very good.
Oh,
Well, you've got the right brand.
I know. How lucky was that?
Yeah,
I know. And two of them.
you'll get a good price for all of them.
Yeah, you'll get a
Two
good
of them have
price for
got
that.
like the tape still in them.
So you can get good money just for the remote controls too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
If the VHS is not working, sell the remote.
And this
Well,
is
the guy
saying,
that gave them away, for free said, "Look, they've just been in storage, and like I'm just wiping them up. There's all just dust on them, but they're almost like new."
yeah. Well, S is saying, and he's quite right, Sony's a premium brand, so that's worth
Bolo.
You can also download the actual instruction guides from the.
Did he have any tapes for you? You could have got some tapes while you were there.
Yeah. Well, there's one had the tape like sticking out. And I'm just cleaning up the Sony one now, and I've just had a look inside, and there's the tape still in there.
Yeah.
And some people make money selling the old TV, the ones that people used to record off the TV.
Yeah.
And they sell those to places like people making movies and things where they need old ads and old TV type.
Like props and that sort of thing.
I took mine to the electronics store, and he had a look at them for me for nothing. He was actually surprised with one of them. He goes, "Oh, this has still got. I'll let you know what it is, but it allows you to tape from the TV."
Yeah.
Oh, wow! I used to do that with my Betamax.
Yeah, well, I had a Panasonic. I still got it actually. It's a HDD, so it's got a hard drive. So if you see hard drive, that will usually mean that you can record stuff on it.
With this Sony one, it's still got the label on top of what it actually does, and it's got here easy to protect sapphire tape cleaner and audio head cleaner built in.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And
Sony's a good.
Well, if that's the one that's got 6 heads, that's a bolo there.
Hilly, make sure
this one's got
check the chat in. Hilly, check the chat in here, because there's some good advice in there about make sure you put NTSC and PAL compatible in your title, and the lamp doing it wrong says be sure to test them completely. Even if they look good, the rubber parts eventually do rot out, so just make sure you do test them. And and then this has put a bit more of an example of how to list, what to put in your title. So
I can do that.
Yeah.
I would also make sure too that with the remote control that you take photos and you say there's no corrosion as well. So add that too.
Yeah.
If it says auto head cleaner built in, does that mean can you still have to clean the heads of something that's this old?
You shouldn't.
Yeah. So what you'd be best to do is actually put that the make and model number into Google. And download the user guide for it, because that'll tell you how to do it, like whether there's a special thing that you need to do, or whether it does it automatically.
Sometimes if you Google it too, there'll be forums that will discuss that type of machine, so you get a feel as to whether it's a good one or not.
Oh, got you. Okay. Oh, that's brilliant.
And you can always look at YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, even in the VHS section in here, there is, I think, somebody did. What's his name? Did put in a couple of videos in there of head cleaning and stuff.
And what I do is when I was testing it, I would actually take a photo of the actual video playing as well. So I take a photo of it, like saying on off, and I take a photo of like the digital display when it says play or loading. And then I took a photo of the actual image of the VHS playing on the TV as
and
well.
I do that. I mean, I even do that when I've got a worthwhile VHS vid tapes. That's what I do. I put them on the TV and then I take a quick 10-second video of it playing so they can see that it's got crisp sound and, you know, good picture.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you.
We're always full of good advice in here.
Full of something.
I
We're
prefer
full
to
of
get him on
opinions.
the Discord.
Yeah, there's a
We're
thing.
full of
And also-
opinions. If you need one, just ask.
Yeah, there is there's some links in that VHS section for the head cleaning if you need it.
And also in your listing, put that if you're going to be playing on VHS, that you recommend that you clean, like tell them to clean it themselves, like clean the heads, or like if it's obviously not an automatic one, but you know, that with the CD as well, because VHS can collect a lot of dust as well. And
When I was
fog,
I sold a few when in my early days, and I downloaded the user guide and printed it off, like the quick start sort of guide, not because some of them had really long books, but some of them were only a few pages. So I actually printed them off and put them with it. So.
Well, even some of the second-hand shops that I've been going to, seeing heaps more VHS tapes.
Adam, is Adam still in here or not, or is he gone? Anyway, S says if you see any VHS rewinders, they're worth dollars. Adam, just saying.
I don't know. No, he already.
I don't even know what that
is. And we're talking.
What's a VHS? What's a rewinder?
It's when you used to get you go to the Video Easy store and get a VHS rental back when, you know, we didn't have proper TV. And if you got a fine if it was late, and it was like massive, and you got a fine if you didn't rewind it. So they had machines that rewound the tape, and that's obviously from a video store.
So if you have a look in the chat, S has put a link in there for what they are.
Yeah, you get some that are worth about $70, $80.
Well, I normally did that. I got some for free, so that's how I investigated it, and just research, just like Grumpy Granny said, just type in the actual name and model of the whatever you've got on Google.
And I happen to have a book in my store, Hilly, that talks about how you can work on electronics without needing the
I need to buy that off.
It's a guide for working with it without the specification guides and how to fix and
there you
test.
go.
Only $18.95. Only $18.95.
I like thinking.
It's not $18.95. It's more than that.
Say electronics for beginners, high return rate.
What's that?
S said if you say electronics for beginners, it's got a high return rate.
I personally stay away from electronics.
Okay, they'll return it.
But I went to the electronics store and he gave me a lot of information, and he was doing it all for free. So I actually wanted to get him to give me a quote, and he just started opening the machine up like in front of me, and I was like, I didn't mean now, but it was kind of too late. And he showed me like inside the machine and stuff like that, and showed me where the hard drive was and things like that. So it is quite intricate, but like if you've got an electronics store, maybe go and have a look if you want to. If you've got a few that are free, like I'd probably go there and have a look, and they might do the same.
Yeah.
Either that, or it might be worth fixing it up, because if you look at the ones that say, is like I did different example. Big Bird that was talking. Without the tape, I couldn't figure out whether it talked or not. You needed a special tape. It was $30 without the tape. I managed to find a listing that had the yellow tape for $14, so I bought the lot. She had about 3 tapes, and I sold it for $130. So there's a difference between it being tested and not tested. So there is a price difference. So it is worth trying to work out if it's working. But if you don't want to have the time to, and just say not working, it's just for parts, and you want to get rid of it, because you've got it for free. $20, get rid of it. It's gone.
But I mean, something like a Sony, you could put it up and still sell it for parts, and still get half decent money for it too.
Yeah, you
G'day, Jen.
price. So, the other good brand is Panasonic.
All right, it's 19 minutes past 10, so we'll wrap it up. Hi, Jen. We'll wrap it up at 10:30.
Can I just tell a story, GG? I actually found a book at the op shop, and it was called Gone Bush, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was about the Snowy River, and it sounded interesting. And when I looked inside where it was published, it was actually published in Reservoir where I lived, and it's like where the address is like I take my daughter there every day. So I knocked on their door to see if they were home, but they weren't home. So this week I'm going to try again, and I'm going to see if the guy's still alive, and get him to sign it.
Yeah, nice one.
Do you know on the street in Reservoir?
Now you asked.
Yeah, it actually says inside. It's called Gone Bush by John Trengrove, and there was some really weird comps, like they were really high, like $90 each. And it actually says published by John Trengrove, and it actually says his address in the book, which is unusual.
Okay.
So yeah, and it says first printing in Eltham, Victoria.
Right.
But that would be because he's self-published, so people do. I've got a lot of local history books where the author's address is in there.
Yeah,
but I'm sure most of them are long dead.
A long time ago about what she's doing to improve sales in her store. She was going to say something, I reckon.
What was that?
Bronwyn.
Come on, Bronwyn, jump in quick.
How do you improve sales, Bronwyn?
Yes, I'm here.
You wait a long time.
What am I talking about?
What's working for you?
Anything you want.
Yeah, anything you want. But what's working for you?
Book. Yep. So everything else in my store has slowed down more or less, and I have a lot of new and replenishable stuff and stuff I make myself. But it's been a very quiet year. And thankfully, having taken up books, it's helping, So now, I think I've got about 400 books listed. I'm selling about 2 a day.
Well done.
And so it's now like 25% of my sales. So I'd be really stuffed if I hadn't started doing books. So.
And that is good.
Done.
And I guess that's
well for me.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of what you're selling's not doing as well or not working, of spreading your wings and trying another category, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's certainly the thing that gives me the most pleasure.
Yep.
Yep. So
and I mean,
though, isn't it?
That being said, too, you're not selling I guess some of them are, but you're not in general looking for just ordinary books either, are you?
No, I don't do much at all in fiction. Yeah, so it's more of the not high end, but mid to high specific genres. But 95% is non-fiction.
Yep.
But having said that, they're a whole lot harder to come across than your mass market stuff.
I agree with that. That's hard. That I find. I struggle to find decent I bought golf books.
Yes. You did.
Well, I tried wrestling books and they sold, so I figured that maybe golf might sell.
Wrestling book. I bought some wrestling books last year, and they were good sellers.
Yeah, I would think they would be.
And martial arts are good sellers too.
What wrestling books did you sell?
Oh, they were all. I bought a guy's collection. I can't even remember how many books there were. I paid $40. I think there were 25 or so books, but it was he loved all the WWE stuff. So there was stuff about the WWE. There were biographies on individual wrestlers, you know, all those Hulk Hogan's and Andre the Giant and all that sort of 80s, 90s, you know, WWE stuff.
I sold
I
a
think I've got a
Foley
couple
comic.
left, but I sold the first book I sold. I got my $40 back, and the rest was profit.
Excellent.
Because I've got a picture of me with Edge, one of the wrestlers. We went to the Fan Frenzy in the 90s, and I actually got him to sign a magazine for me, and you were either supposed to get a photo or an autograph, not both. But the lady was changing the SD card while we were taking the photos, and I said to him, "Oh, you're much better looking in real life than you are on TV." And he said,
hello.
"Why?" And he said, "Why am I ugly on TV?" And I just went, "Oh no!" And I was walking away going, "Oh my god, that's what you could say to him." And but yeah, he was really
Night,
nice.
Rob.
And my husband's got
Good night.
like Stacey Keebler, like photos of Stacey Keebler, and we've got Andre the Giant, and a few of his autographs. So I think I better find them and start listing them. I think.
Yep.
Well, if you've got autographs from any of them with any kind of sort of, you know, provenance like you're talking about, Hulk Hogan and stuff like that will go really well.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't come out in that particular one, but I've got a picture of a very drunk Randy Orton with me when he first started. So it's like, that would be a good one.
Jen, do you want to let us know what's working for you at the moment before we finish?
I picked up one of those metre dolls or Metty dolls today for $1.
Netta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Netty?
Is it
the METTI?
That might be a different one. The ones I've had are NETTA.
Okay, this is METTI.
Okay.
I sent you a photo of it on Instagram, Leanne.
Okay, I haven't found that yet. Haven't had a chance to have a look at that yet. So
it looks like, yes, she looks a bit like, well, it looks a little bit like the one you had.
Yep. Okay. So if it's an indigenous-looking type doll,
yeah.
And is it I was going to say genetically correct, but that's not the right word.
Anatomically
correct. That's what I want.
Anatomically, yeah.
Gender neutral.
It's a gender neutral one, is it?
It is. Hang on, I'll see if I can. Yeah.
I will say, I must admit, the boy ones probably are the better ones that are anatomically correct.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll have a look because I just been flat step trying to get stuff listed today, so I haven't.
I'll see if I can.
Looking at dolls.
Put it on once. They do look spooky. That's for sure.
Yeah, watch out, John. We'll have you selling dolls next.
No. Oh well, I've sold dolls, but not those dolls. I've sold dolls, man.
Yeah.
Just remember too, guys, that I actually sold some dolls to a lady who makes like Halloween dolls. Like I think she's actually got a company called Goth Dolls, and so if you've got any like dolls that are not branded, spare parts, all that sort of stuff, and lot them and put Halloween in your listing.
Yeah,
it's nice, Jen.
I just put it. I just put it up now, Leanne.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is Green Lantern going to talk? He might have a different.
He did.
He did earlier.
About what he was doing, what's working for him.
What's working for him? Mr. Lantern, doing it wrong?
What's working for me is just listing. Just keep listing.
Typing.
I'm like a Finding Nemo. Just keep listing. Just keep listing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they must have been a different company or a different. Yeah, unless it was the same company as the Netta dolls, but yeah, I don't know. It depends on the age.
And actually, oddly enough, I thought it was your one, and I was remembering how that you used to call it, and I was thinking that you used to call it Netta. I'm thinking, maybe you were saying Meta.
Yeah, no,
yeah. Obviously not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you can still sell those dolls.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they sell good.
You can't sell a gollywog, but you can sell that.
Yep.
I know. It's strange.
Well, I mean,
is that
really
your
There's nothing wrong with being able to
$83?
sell those. They're culturally,
because
like for families, with children who look like that, they want a doll that looks like that. They don't want a doll that looks like some bloody little Barbie when their kids and they themselves look like this doll. They'd much rather have that doll for the children to play with than to have a doll that looks like bloody God knows what, you know. And the same with the Chinese dolls and it was something that we always used in childcare. You'd have as many different nationalities of dolls as you could, so that the children that were in the childcare centre found something that they could feel familiar with.
Yeah.
I remember what they're called, but they're a
So is
brand.
this your listing, Jen?
Just before you go on, so doing it wrong said he's got 7 listings up while listening to y'all. Thanks for the conversation from Virginia in the US.
Cool.
Ah, that was the accent.
Yep, that was the accent.
Well, he certainly did well getting so many listings up because I've just sat here and ignored mine and enjoyed the chat instead.
Yeah, well,
Hey, y'all, I'm not the one with the accent.
That being
Hang on, who's got
there's
the
a few different accents here.
That being said, you know, there are all these great text to voice AIs that will, with these, you know, that will any voice you like, but you try and find a decent a proper Australian accent.
Oh God!
What, like yours, Gigi?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna actually
like the ones from far north Queensland.
Yeah, so in Filmora, which is what I used to do my editing, it's got a new thing in it now where you can actually you record a certain amount of words and stuff, and then it will actually make a voice that's your voice, like for doing it. But I'm stuck with the kids. So yeah, I need two little boy voices, but I might have to get some females to talk. Finishing off, John
What
says...
happened to that guy? What happened to that little boy last year that you were doing something with? Do you remember when you were trying to get to 1,000?
Yeah.
What was that? You know, the boy and his dad?
Yeah. Austin, yeah.
Austin.
Austin. Or is that... No, that's
No.
Bax's son. Yeah, no, I know who you mean.
This was back when you were trying to get to 1,000.
I know who you mean.
He was doing...
Yeah, I know who you mean. I just can't think of his name.
Get him to do some reading. Get him to do some reading for you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. John says I'm finishing off
my
fourth.
Name? I can't remember his name.
John says I'm finishing off my 4th variation during this chat. Only photos to go. Good work, John. Well, we've allowed some people to be very productive during the chat.
I've cooked dinner, eaten dinner, made a cup of tea, cleaned up the kitchen, and now I'm going to retire early, I think.
And I'm going to go and try and find an Australian voice for my, I'm Grumpy Granny. Yeah.
Go and get, you know what you need to do? Go back and get one of those, on YouTube, Barry McKenzie or, Barry McKenzie, when they were in England.
Yeah. But I need the story I'm doing at the moment is 2 5-year-old boys, so. But anyway, I'm gonna try this thing in Filmora and see if it does work if I record what it wants me to record. If it can then make the voice that will generate my voice, then I'm going to get my children to record their children, and I'm going to plug that into it and get it to start making me kids' voices. Yeah, so
yes,
there
I was going to say, haven't you got grandkids?
Hey, yeah.
You've got grandkids.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to get my kids to get their kids. S is saying there's a site where you can analyse your voice and then you can use text to voice. Yes, you can, and that's what I'm going to do, but I'm making a little video that features 2 5-year-old boys, and I was hoping that I might have been able to just go on and find suitable voices, but there aren't any that I was able to find today when I was looking. And no, 11 Labs has hardly got any Australians in there, let me tell you. And no kids. That's the trouble. They've got no kids in there. But thanks for the suggestion, S. I did try them. And some of the Australian accents are fake.
Definitely.
Very fake.
And I'm going to say good night to everybody. Lovely to hear all your different ideas for selling on. And hopefully we'll all have a big boost
Shake
this week.
and Stevens. Sandra, find Shake and Stevens CDs.
You'll have to do
I don't think they're books, mate.
What's behind the
Aussie accent?
Yes. Have a good week, everyone.
Well, I'll give you an Aussie accent. Hooroo.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Gigi. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night, all.
Night all.
Morning, y'all.
Morning, girl.
Yeah, but it is morning. Hang on, now I've got to turn the bloody thing off.